Merry Christmas! But Josh, it's not Christmas, it's November. I don't care when I say it's Christmas, I mean it's Christmas. Anywho, before this video starts, I have two things to address. One, I'm sorry for not posting for like a year, I swear, I'm trying. And two, please excuse my extremely nasally voice. I was really sick when I recorded this audio, and I just wanted to get it out the way. But without further ado, enjoy the video! Joshua, I thought you only flew like one time. Why are you making another video? Oh, you think I'm done? I'm just getting started! Yeah, no, I have more chaotic flying stories to share with you. So, if you haven't seen Flying Part 1, you don't have to watch it for this to make sense. But it might help a little bit if you did. Hint, hint. But for the people that didn't watch part 1, here's some context. I live with my grandparents. My parents live on opposite sides of the country, so I visit them from time to time. When I visit my mom, I take the bus. But as I just said, my parents live on the opposite side of the country, so to visit my dad, I need to take a plane. This one particular plane trip, I went by myself because I was turning 14 and my grandparents thought I was mature enough to go by myself. You may remember in the last video, hint hint, that I was able to cut the TSA line because I had to push my grandmother in a wheelchair, but this time I was able to cut the line because I was a minor. I also got to board the plane early. Now, since my very first flight, I did not think it would be possible for me to find an airline worse than Un-American Airlines. But boy was I wrong! This time I used a company we're going to call West South Airlines. Why was it worse, some of you may be asking? Well, because the planes didn't have screens or outlets. Luckily, during the first trip, I had my phone and Switch with me, so I had enough energy for the entire flight. But when my phone died, it was pretty frustrating not being able to listen to music, but I was cool with it. An important detail I should probably mention is that this trip took place during winter break, and Tennessee doesn't get much snow where I live, so traveling to Oregon during the winter was a massive change of weather. Like seriously, the snow was up to my ankles. Anyway, I mentioned this for a reason, which will come up later. So, what my grandparents did so we could save money is get me a layover flight on my way home. The problem here is I've never had a layover flight before, let alone flown by myself. So, I was a bit nervous. Turns out, I had a great reason to be nervous! When it was time for me to leave, it was snowing quite a bit, but I was reassured that it wouldn't be that big of a problem. So I tried to calm down a bit. My first flight went fine, but the problem was the ability to get to my second flight. Remember how I mentioned it was snowing? Well, it turns out that after the plane had landed, the wings were frozen, and it had to be de-thawed before anyone could get out. Why didn't they just unload the plane first and then de-thaw the plane? I don't know! At first I was calm, and then I checked my phone for the boarding time of the next plane. And that's when I panicked. My layover flight is in 5 minutes! I have never been to this airport before. Yes, it was in Texas, but Texas has a lot of airports. When I finally got off the plane, I checked the time again. 2 minutes. Holy shit! I bolted to the nearest map, skimmed it for a bit, found my gate, and ran faster than I had ever ran before. But then, my watch's alarm went off. I set an alarm so I would know exactly when I had to leave, so this happening kinda broke me. I looked around and then realized I had no clue where I was. I was lost in this huge building, late for my flight, and I had no one there with me. I immediately broke down. I literally stopped right there where I was and just started crying. Oh my god, what do I do now? I'm late for my flight, I'm lost, and I don't have my parents with me to help. That's when the intercom went off. Attention, everyone. We have a list of flight delays due to weather. The delayed flights are 205, 212, 219, and 224. Oh my god. I'm not late! I got up, wiped the tears off my face, and continued running. I rechecked the schedule on my phone and found that I had 5 extra minutes to get to my gate. I found a map and was able to get to my gate with just a minute to spare. I made it! But then I encountered another problem. I checked the battery of my devices. Switch, dead. Phone, 8%. And I wasn't able to charge my phone nor my Switch before the flight because I got there when there was just 1 minute left. Please let there be an outlet on a screen. At least an outlet, please. There was no outlet, nor was there a screen. Let's just say that was a long 4 hours home. When I finally arrived at the airport, I had some time left before I could get my bags, so I charged my phone a bit. When my phone came back to life, I was bombarded with notifications of mixed calls and text. What? Turns out my aunt and uncle were waiting at the baggage claim waiting for me. Apparently, they didn't notify the destination airport about the delay, so they were waiting for ages. I waited for my phone to get to like 20% and then I went to baggage claim. It was 2 in the morning, so I was too tired to look for them, but they found me before I even looked for them. They asked me what took so long and I explained my situation. Then they understood why it took so long. I waited a good 20 minutes for my bag to show up, grabbed my bag, and passed out in the car after getting food from the McDonald's at the airport.